Say what? Look.
It's the new OGs. The new OGs is a State and Madison Entertainment production that is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people in Illinois get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, raise the value of your home, and do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is black-owned and a SunPower dealer, an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience. They even have a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.gosolarmasters.com. Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, we have his sound turned down. I like that.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, there he is.
I just want to make sure everybody understands what you just told these people.
I like how you ask that as you're pulling your bong towards you. Like, for sure you don't understand, so I know you're asking really for you. We're 108 episodes in, and he's still checking, and this is the reason why.
There's new people. You gotta do it fresh every time, Bobby. There's new people watching every time.
To think about this, at one point he asked if we should just record one of these to record it, and and I said no like an idiot. Now here I am. Yes, sir. How can I help you, XL?
I'm a goddamn professional, Bobby, and I'm always prepared.
How can I help you, XL?
Just want to make sure that what you told the people, they understand and we got it down correct.
Right. Of course, we got to make sure.
You said if they go solar, they can save money every month on their bill.
They can save money every month on their bill. Yep.
They get to do something to help the environment before the world goes tits up.
They can help the environment. The world's going tits up, but maybe you can help. There are some ways that you can help reduce this. You can play a role. You can feel good if that's what you're trying to do. All that is available to you. Yeah.
Okay. And say you don't give a fuck about none of that.
If you don't
like cold hard cash.
You like some cash.
You can get $500 just for referring somebody?
Just refer somebody who's got a roof, who's willing to let us contact them at Solar Masters, and they will come out and do the whole thing. If they go solar, you get $500. You can get up to $20,000 tax free.
Okay, I really don't understand why I asked to repeat this. This is pretty simple. Like, people should just get this. I don't. Yeah, I got nothing.
If you would like to see how plain-minded you can be and also make $500, get over to www.gosolarmasters.com. Get in contact to try and get a consultation. Order for somebody that you know. Make that money. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. Get over to People of Comedy on Facebook. Try and check out all of the great shows they have offered there. Check in daily. They've got new, fresh podcasts you can watch and listen to wherever you listen to pods. We are back here on another Friday. We are back here finishing up the week. XL, you are remote. I'm the one man in the studio today. We have, no matter what we do, we will always find a way to be in 3 locations. I think this is our new thing. We're just going to get to 3 locations as quickly as possible. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing a little rough, man. I just had a breakup recently. I had to dump a drug dealer. And,
no.
That's always tough, man. You know, you think you got something special. You think this is going to be your long-term drug dealer, the drug dealer that you are with forever and ever, and it just doesn't work out like that. They got other clients. They start returning your texts right away. They're always busy with other shit, you know.
Right. It's like, are you even in the business or what, you know?
And this is like, I've been saying this shit for 3 years since Illinois legalized this shit. It's a bad time to have bad customer service. That's like starting a fight with your woman at a big dick convention. Why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, you want to. This is definitely when you want to get it together. You know what I mean? Like, if
you're your shit together.
You're at most risk for losing forever customers right now. If somebody can, because it's not going to get easier on you. It's not the price of weed in Illinois is not going to get higher in the stores. Not like comparative to what people have to pay for it. Like, it's going to get more and more reasonable. The right now they started off I think with like 20 things you could have to get your license. Now it's like 42, and that shit'll grow. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it'll evolve over time. It will not always be a better deal or the best deal or so. There'll be a point you're like, well, I get if I want this shit, yeah, I just go to my boy. But if I'm trying to do X, Y, Z, already if you want certain edibles, it's like way easier to just go to the spot. You know what I mean? If you want to concentrate,
True. Yeah, I got. I'm mostly stuck with dealers just to support black-owned business. Yeah, because I mean, we don't know who owns like a lot of dispensaries, but I found a black-owned dispensary, and they're not much more. Like just like you were just saying, they are very close to reasonable to what I was paying with my guy already, and he's unreliable, and they're pretty reliable,
right?
And they have a bigger assortment, which is probably the biggest plus of it. So yeah, I mean, we had some good times. I don't begrudge him. I hope he's happy with his other customers. I was just ready to move on. Me and the bong. This is our bong. We got this at the same shop together.
You and your dealer got at the same shop together.
Me and my dealer.
You shared this.
Hey, it was like the third closest relationship in my life.
Man, when you getting down with designer bongs and shit, that's next level love.
Yeah, when you dive into that, you're definitely going deep.
I feel dirty because I'm smoking somebody else's weed. But it's I'm moving on.
Those times can be tough, man. I hope it's something that can work out for you. Okay, I realize how tough that can be. I've broken up with many a dealer over my lifetime for various reasons, and it's always rough when it's something that's so easily fixable. You know what I mean? Like when it's really just like being like it sucks. Like it's one thing where it's just like, well, out of the business, or like doing RICO charges, or whatever the case may be, right? But it's crazy when it's just like can't ever be in contact.
Or murder. That's happened twice.
Yeah, murder sometimes happens, like
twice
murdered or murdering. Sometimes either way.
For anybody watching the show, not drug related either time.
No.
Murdered for other reasons, not drug related.
Yeah. The drugs were not the problem.
Yeah, so I mean, before you get any ideas.
Right.
Murdered, yes. Drug related, no.
Not by you.
No.
Over drug-related issues.
You ain't gonna answer my call for a third time? No.
Shit, it's Christmas in my house too, motherfucker.
I need this shit.
Oh my god.
Rob,
I for real. This is a true story. I one time had a deal where I was calling somebody for some extracurriculars, and they was like, "Man, I'm at my daughter's birthday party," and the person I was calling on behalf of somebody else, and somebody else was like, "Ask her when that shit's done." Come on, man.
Come on.
A great birthday party, man.
Yeah, you gotta let this dude finish off his birthday. I mean, for his kid.
This nigga have a day, man. Let's let this nigga have a day.
Oh my goodness, you don't get a day off at all.
At the very least, you know what I mean? Rob, what's going on with you, brother? You're out in LA.
Yeah.
Are you on fire yet? Is the planet on fire there yet? Are you guys all surviving?
I'm cool. There's a lot of concrete and shit around me. You know, right?
Shit that's hard to set on fire.
It ain't like that over here. But it's part. But like the last time.
Catch on fire?
Huh?
Can you burn palm trees?
Oh yeah.
Good, but I'm saying.
Oh yeah. You can burn palm trees, my nigga.
Hey, in order for that sender to get here, it's got to get on the 101.
I have seen. Now I was living in Burbank when they had that fire up on, I don't know what that was, the 5 that jumped the expressway. They had a fire that jumped the expressway, which I was just like, I'm not comfortable with fire anymore. I wasn't comfortable already, but I'm definitely not. Like, fire, usually you get a head start. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's burning over there. Let's get the fuck out. But, like, you know what I mean? But, like, if the shit's... Because you're like, well, let's get to the other side of, like, this giant, major, multi-lane highway. That seems like a good idea. What fire would just go across multiple lanes of concrete highway? And the answer is any fire that decides it fucking wants to.
You know, like, that's some LA shit right there. That's the LA shit. Trying to, like, you know, my agent said... I need to expand my expand my reach.
Is that the Dixie Fire that you got going on right there?
Yeah, this is the one that jumped over.
Oh yeah,
89.
yeah. There, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. A lot of times when they jump over it, it's not like it's that much space. And even if it is a lot of space, it's in the middle of a hill or something.
Yeah, the 405 is huge.
To the other side of other shit to burn.
It is it is interested in kicking it. You know what I mean? Fire is an interesting deal. Like, I don't know, maybe I watched too much Backdraft as a kid, but the idea of fire is
like, alive, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like the idea of fire as being like an entity that is, although it is not a normal physical entity, is alive in that moment and is seeking seeking oxygen or is seeking to stay alive as part of its deal, is like a wild concept when you realize what it does in the world, which is crazy. So
I don't think it has a conscious, like a thought, but fires definitely do act to survive. So I don't know what you do with that, but they definitely
well, what you're supposed to do is put
like
on
something that has thought. They move like something that has thought, though it doesn't.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You put on a mask, and you put on a mask that's made out of fireproof shit.
Anyway, Rob, what's going on with you, man? What are you doing out in LA right now?
Hey, man, I had an OG moment today. I listened to I had listened to Jermaine O'Neal. I watched the documentary,
The Untold Malice at the Palace documentary.
And I thought I didn't agree with you, X, on his energy. I did not. In addition to that, when I listened to the All the Smoke, you know what I mean? Because I have been hearing about it and I seen it on TV.
That podcast is the shit.
Man, I listened to them dudes, man. And when I got through listening to Old Boy, man, this dude was right in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the moment, I think he was correct. I mean, I'm saying, like, dude, we wouldn't even be in this shit if it wasn't for you. We were there, dude. With all you got to do, and even after all of that, now he says, I didn't understand what the man was going through. Now, a lot of us wouldn't have understood that, but that does not change the way I feel. You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm not mad at you, but dude, this is where we were.
Well, also, you're dealing with people who are this isn't just like your local insurance office. You know what I mean? Like, these guys aren't just trying to get to the $1 million cup at their local real estate location, right? Like, I mean, also imagine in those scenarios, right? Like, I remember working in mortgages at one point and losing a deal that was going to get me a bonus, and I ripped the motherfucking water cooler off the top of the water thing and carried that bitch outside, water pouring over me, and chucked it into the parking lot because I was going to miss a big fucking bonus because somebody fucked some shit up. Okay, so like that was on that. Now, was I a Norandrostine down at the time? Yes, but that's besides the point. Was I 25 and full of rage? Yes, but
you know what that means? You know what that means, Rob? Sign the fucking contract. When they say sign the contracts, so Bobby don't lose his shit.
But okay. You know what I mean? But I mean, here's my thing though. Like, that was a small mortgage office. You know what I mean? And I'm 25. These guys are largely not far from those ages, right? And like, this motherfucker doesn't want to take the first couple months off so he can go work on his music career. And I'll come back later. I'm just not interested in starting the season with everybody else who's coming here to work and earn their $1 million+ as black people from the fucking hood that we have gotten this opportunity to even do this shit in the first place. Now that I'm here, I'm going to fuck off on this rap career that I would have not had if I didn't put in all this work for these people to get to this part, right? Now I got people who are relying on me and I'm going to do my own shit. Now, there is whatever the mental situation he is that made him feel like that was an okay thing to do at the time or led him that way. I get that. But also, from Jermaine O'Neal's perspective, who does not have any of those issues, who is all in on this whole idea of team concept, he has also the right to be like, hey man, that is fucked up and you cost us what is the utmost pinnacle in our thing, which is like at a whole different scale than my mortgage office.
I don't disagree that they had the right to feel that in 2004 and 2005.
Right.
I say today in 2021, when this gets released,
right, I
feel like there should have been more on the back end about mental health and how we didn't understand that shit.
Some healing.
Obviously now, obviously, because at the end of that interview, it felt like none of them still fuck with Ron Artest.
Well, here's the thing. I have.
when it was taped, though.
Well, here's the thing,
Okay,
too, though. Here's the thing, though. They did. I think the way that Jermaine O'Neal showed his compassion for Ron Artest is by allowing the interviews in which Ron Artest copped to the fact that, like, he felt responsible for it. I think in Jermaine O'Neal's eyes, that may be the best he's got for Homeboy right now. And that has to be okay too, right? Like Jermaine O'Neal,
he has a right to have his emotions.
I mean, he does have a right to be like, listen, man, I'm gonna let you explain that you feel bad about it, but that don't mean we got to do the interview in the same room, do we? You know what I mean? Like,
hey, I feel like there needs to be space between them niggas.
Right.
I feel like if he walk in the room and Jermaine O'Neal is in the room, he gotta leave the room.
Like, hey, dog, I'll let you say whatever you want, but I'm gonna send the cameras to your crib, so you ain't even gotta leave. You can do it from your own couch.
I do.
But see, here's the thing, though, guys. Here's the thing. He didn't get to express that so freely in the doc, but on All the Smoke. So that's why I'm saying you won't know when it was taped, because he said he just started back talking to dudes.
Right.
Like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Like I said, man, that shit can run deep, man. That difficulty of getting over that, especially, you know, you play your whole career, and maybe you're not interested in, like, having that conversation because every year you're focused. I'm focused on win this title this year. And then you retire and you look at everything that happened and you look back through your career and you're like, this one fucking year, man. What's the problem here? And then you remember what was going on, like, oh yeah, this motherfucker wanted to skip the first 2 months to go off on a music tour. Like, what the fuck? Like, then also you're like, hell no, I'm not. Like, it's 14 years later. And you're like, yeah, I'm not talking to this motherfucker.
Hey, dig this and dig this. This one was so crazy on the podcast. They went into detail.
Right.
A little more detail of how crazy this nigga was. He said, man, they was gone for some time and they came back to practice. Ain't nobody heard from him. Ain't nobody seen him. Nothing. And he said, as soon as we get ready to start shoot around, the door pop open. He was like, this nigga come in with church shoes on and some gym shoes. And he said, in his regular practice jersey, right before we finna start. And then he said, he out practiced everybody in the gym. He was like, dude, he said, there is nobody on the planet that work harder than this man. And he was talking about how people were physically afraid of him in the low post.
Yeah, and he was like 6'7", 215 or 220 or something like that. And he was just like, you know, the height was decent. I mean, Barkley was 6'4", but he was 270 pounds or some shit. So like and he also could leap out of this world, right? Like Barkley's leap was incredible for where his ability to leap and like keep leaping for something was insane to be able to get the same height.
Ron Artest had like a strong safety type build.
Yeah, but if a strong safety was 6'7".
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a weird thing because he's tall. I would say linebacker, but he was too small to be linebacker. But like a big strong safety, if it was just if strong safety was 6'7", yeah. But I remember I used to go to Bulls games when he was a Bulls player. The firm I worked for had a club level.
Humble brag.
And humble brag.
Let me just slip in how I was at these games.
And I just remember I was a fan of Ron Artest because I liked the way he played, but I also never fully believed in his game because he just didn't look like a basketball player to me. He looked like a prison nigga playing basketball.
You ever fuck with a dude who's smaller? Like when you're younger and you're even whether it's a friend and you just like play wrestling and shit, and you fuck with a dude who's smaller than you, but is somehow like weird strong. Where you're just like, oh, are you an X-Men nigga? What the fuck is going on? Are you Luke Cage, bitch? What the fuck is happening right now? Because you are 8 inches shorter than me, and we are locked in tight in this fucking wrestling hole right now. You are giving not an inch, motherfucker.
I used to go to grade school with this dude, man, for some reason, right around 7th grade, he decided he wanted to beat up everybody in the 7th grade.
That's Ron Artest to me. He's one of those guys who's like, you look at me like, he shouldn't be stronger than somebody, but there's just something about his leverage and how he manipulates himself, and like his whatever the will is he's got is more than whatever.
I think a lot of it is will.
Yeah.
I think a lot, because you know how when they were talking about the fights and it was like them NBA shit it's all for show. like ain't nobody really trying to fight in no show.
Ron Artest was ready to fight.
Yeah. And when you know that motherfucker actually will knock you the fuck out, that makes you act different, man. You don't go as hard in the paint against that nigga because he actually will knock you out.
Yeah, because he's keenly admitted that like there's a point where just like the off switch hits, and all of a sudden he's just like enemies, and it's just like all right, well everybody's like he was just like there's a point where just like everybody's enemies, and I just have to fight, and it's like oh okay, well then obviously I'm not gonna put that elbow in your hip down here. I'm just gonna give you like the thigh and the hamstring post move. And I'm gonna hold the hands up because I don't want you to feel like anything crazy is going on. Because if you turn and you pop me, you might knock me out because you seem ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
Stop swinging them elbows.
It's an interesting legend. And speaking of interesting,
I just want to say the last thing on that. I hope Jermaine O'Neal finds it. I'm pro forgiveness, man.
Yeah.
I'm pro forgiveness for no other reason than hate the motherfucker don't ever do you no good. Like there's never a win that hate gets you.
Well, I think
you might have joy in their demise, but you can still have joy in their demise and let go of the hate.
Yeah, like, I think time heals. I think time heals overall in the end. And one of the things that we have not had enough time to heal from is the passing of Chadwick Boseman. We saw the latest What If episode came out on Disney. It's animated. It's the last voice appearance from Chadwick Boseman.
Not true.
It's not the last. He has three more.
Voice
They're what ifs though, right?
What ifs.
Okay,
he appears in three more what ifs.
Okay, so but.
At Star-Lord.
I mean, you know, I'm somebody who's still struggling over like it's one of those weird things where just like some people's deaths, whether you know them or not, are just weirder to you than others, and that one was a real hard one for me. Like it's one that like I mean, it was just one of those because
Kobe.
Yeah, I just well, and I think part of that is the immediacy of that, right? Like it was nothing, and then all of a sudden there's this instant like smack in the face of it happening. These weren't old guys; these were guys who were 40s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one thing if even when you think about like a Prince dying, he was old. He was older by then. He was a guy who was in the.
And even though Prince dying was a shock, there was like an incident that happened right before he died that everybody thought he died.
Yeah.
And it was like maybe 2 weeks before he actually died. So like when he died, everybody was like, "Oh damn, I guess he was sicker than we thought." After the first incident or whatever. I think it was. I know people still having problems with the Prince death, but
yes.
I think when it happened, it was kind of like shit, it was fucked up.
Right.
Whereas both Chadwick Boseman and Kobe were.
Well, there's also an etherealness to Prince where it's just like, well, this dude's in a mysterious shit. Who the fuck knows what the fuck could be going on? Of course, dude could magically die one day. He's a weird elfish man. Who the fuck, man? Like, is he of this earth? We're not really sure. He has parents,
not sure.
But we don't really trust it, right? So, like, did he die or did he ascend? Nobody knows, right? So that's what we're dealing with. But with Chadwick Boseman, this nigga was just making movies. Like the shit was just out. He wasn't, and I think also the issue is like it wasn't like he was in some weird car accident or something like that. No, this nigga had cancer for a minute. You know what I mean? He'd been having cancer he'd made whole goddamn movies with cancer, and everybody was just like, we had no idea. This dude was ridiculous with what he had put out, and I thought, and I was a huge.
The biggest portion of his fame,
right?
The biggest portion of his fame, he was fighting cancer the whole time, which makes him even more.
Legendary.
Regal is the right word, but the way he carried.
Could you imagine him as a fully healthy guy?
He cared for so many other people in a time when it would have been perfectly fine for him to be selfish.
Just the performance he was able to put together at times when he was probably sick or dealing with that or struggling with it, or even just having it in his head.
He was still doing commencement speeches and shit.
Man, when I saw him in Ma Rainey's, man. He was incredible, and you could tell he wasn't well.
Right.
He looked very emaciated.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, look at the work he putting in. And it was kind of
that's what I'm saying though, is like imagine how amazing, like he was this amazing and he was sick that whole time. Imagine if he was healthy the whole time. How insane of like what would we that's why I think that the reverence is maybe hits for me a little bit because of that. But anyway, he's in this episode of What If. It's where he takes the place of Peter Quill as Star-Lord. It sets off some interesting concepts because what I thought did great justice about the episode is how much of an impact the character and as a byproduct Chadwick kind of has as they're kind of putting out here to the universe as a whole, right? Like the change that what Thanos is just a member of the crew that's now turned into quote unquote good guys, right? Like that's fucking amazing. That's just such and it's all because of T'Challa.
That scene, I watched that with my kid and we both audibly gasped.
Right.
Like we both were like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like it was. Yeah.
You know what's amazing about it? It kind of reinforces the thought of there being such a thing as royalty, right? Because you took him away from the royalty he was born to, and he still became a leader where he wound up.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, so there's that.
Well, I think it says something about the nature or nurture when it comes to innate leadership. You know what I mean? Like there are some people that are reluctant heroes. We tell a lot of those stories about guys who suffer some major loss or something, who didn't want to join the fight, who should be, and because of some thing that's got them motivated, they are now going to dive in, even though it's not what they want to be doing. They want to be at home with their family. And then you got some guys who are just like, I was on this earth to help people be better than what the fuck they were. And that's my only chore in life. And thankfully it's not everybody, because we would annoy the shit out of each other more than we already do. But I thought it was a tremendous episode. You should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. The other thing that I saw is that Dominique Thorne, who is supposed to be the new Iron Man, but Iron Heart, it's a black character in the MCU. She actually creates her own Iron Man suit, and she will actually make her first appearance as Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever, which is the new Black Panther movie that I think they just started filming, or that they're going to be filming soon. So I've heard that movie is supposed to be far out, man. Like they talked to Martin Freeman, the one white dude. They were just like, listen. I know this movie got a bunch of black people. Let's talk to the one white guy about it. And so they asked him, and he was, and surprisingly enough, he said the script by people where nobody looks like him is very he says it's crazy to him, but it's going to be amazing. And so that's the appropriate response from him. But I'm.
You know what? I like that. I love that you brought. I love that he's the one that they asked about it, just because.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall talked about having to have somebody white in Coming to America when they made it, and everybody's like, "What? Get the fuck out of here!" And I was like, "What are you talking about? This shit is still happening."
Yeah,
it's still happening.
Yeah, they still couldn't have just a movie with all black people in it for that. Yeah. So
not for no blockbuster shit.
No. But I'm interested. That movie's going to be amazing, partially because, even at the end of What If, as it's getting to the end and he's back home again, and also What If is obviously the story and Guardians of the Galaxy as a byproduct is a story about fatherhood, right, and the connection of father and son, and also the how a son has to kind of figure some shit out on their own. And so this, as you get towards the end, I went from laughing, because it's a really funny episode too, but by the end of it I'm just bawling. I'm openly weeping on my couch at 9:00 on a Wednesday morning. And so so what I was saying is Wakanda Forever is going to be amazing, but also there's going to be a large part of it they're not going to go without addressing whatever's happening. So I will most likely be bawling again through most of Wakanda Forever is what I'm trying to tell anybody who goes to that with me.
This has nothing to go on. I have nothing going on. No inside information, obviously, but they kind of hinted at Peter Quill being a villain at the end of that What If, and I wonder if it has anything to do with everybody. There's the meme from Endgame of this whole thing wouldn't have had to happen if this motherfucker didn't mess up the
Peter Quill is going to be involved with fucking it all up one way or another, right? Yeah, because what's important about What If is that it takes place after Loki and Lady Loki fucking kill He Who Remains at the end of Loki, right? So it takes place after that. And so because what happens is when they do that, the timeline is branching everywhere. Also, the very opening of Loki starts with the song that plays when Steve goes to meet Peggy at the end of Endgame, which would suggest that the reason why that timeline is allowed to exist is because it's happening at the same time that the timeline branches off at the end of Loki.
Dude, that thing you sent us.
Their timing of things, like it is set up. They have decided they've had enough time now that they can set some of this stuff up where the timelines of where things are supposed to happen are set up in this magical way, which is going to make Eternals amazing. They had the last trailer for Eternals, which is a movie about a race of people who have been on Earth for thousands of years, but have just let us keep killing each other despite having superpowers, which is. No. We're just here to hang out, man. We just gotta stop these one group of people, but y'all just can maul each other to death and sometimes kill us when we come back to life later. Just knock yourselves out, man. Whatever you gotta do. And then they just chill, I guess, until for some reason something's gonna get them excited to start doing some shit now, right?
Yeah, apparently there's one thing that, like, if this thing attacks, y'all can't.
The deviants. The deviants are the one thing. So unless I guess the deviants are coming back, which is like. What a weak reason to get involved. All I know is, I posted this the other day, all I know is they better not ask humans for any fucking help. Okay? Y'all been around all this time. Y'all let Hitler come through and you're just like, nah, we're good. Let him fucking, like, obviously you get no help, man. Y'all fix this. It looks amazing.
I also read, Bobby, did you send us the thing about the timeline?
Yeah.
All of the movies lining up?
Yeah.
That was amazing, man. I was like, wow, that's when you're on the next level of storytelling.
Dude, yeah. That shit where the one He Who Remains and Scarlet Witch sync up, that shit was fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, as she's creating this Nexus event that's going on, essentially it's in sync with the ending of at the end of Loki, the finale of Loki. The finale of WandaVision, the finale of Loki sync up in the way their actions are taking place. What she's doing and what he's doing actually sync up. It's a pretty crazy move. And it's like, the actions are just close and the actions are parallel enough that there's no way that they didn't like look at that and go, here's the movement I want you to make with your hands.
Well, if you think about, without giving the full spoiler away, if you think about what he's saying in that moment,
yes,
and what's happening,
it fits perfectly.
It's definitely intent, because that thing is the thing that made it so needed,
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's too on the nose for it to be anything other than a planned thing. Like I don't trust coincidence that much.
Which, by the way, I mean, I saw her almost take out Thanos by herself. So I would have taken out Thanos by herself if he didn't rain fire on the bitch. But I gained another level of respect for the Scarlet Witch's power when I realized that.
Yeah. Well, and we won't have to wait too long to see what the next thing is. Obviously, What If is still airing, and then Shang-Chi comes out on November 3rd. And the reviews for that are pretty solid too. So we're gonna see whatever.
Is that gonna be on Disney?
No, it's coming to theaters first. It's going to theaters. I think.
I can't buy that on Disney Plus.
No, they're doing 45 days in the theaters before it comes to Disney Plus. Period. There is no Disney Plus Premier access for that. They want people. Look at what they just had to fucking deal with, man. They got Scarlett Johansson has sued them. What's funny is they came out and they were just like, listen, man, we've already paid this chick $20 million for this movie. We'll pay her whatever extra compensation she gonna get, but she just mad. Like she's making more than she would have made if they're basically being like she's making more than she would have made if we'd have put this in the theater and just let her make it off of that. Let me just tell you.
Oh wow!
So essentially they're saying is she has been compensated $20 million already for this movie, and she'll make additional money on top of that. And so we really don't see where the fucking problem is here. You know what I mean? Like it's. Essentially, they're saying she's getting what she would have, she's doing better than what she would have made based on just fucking, had we thrown this motherfucker in the theater and said good luck at this time of year. Like, if you want to throw in the theater right now and see what's up, like this is.
So B. Yeah. I don't think Scarlett Johansson's beef really has to do. I know the money concept. That's why you sue somebody.
Right.
But I think she was gonna try to lean into being a woman leading a billion-dollar fucking film franchise, and her attorney's arguments are kind of like they would have made they're implying that the only reason why this movie didn't do better was because they did the Disney Plus thing,
But Disney's numbers on that Disney Plus shit will not back that up. Because
Exactly.
they did baller numbers on that shit. There's no way. Well, the other thing is like they right after she had her lawsuit, there was all these rumors that like what's her face from Cruella de Vil was looking at potentially suing also because they released her shit on Disney Premiere.
So from what I understand, it was a matter of you get a percentage of what's in theaters.
Right.
Yeah.
But not what's you're streaming.
Well, I don't know what her actual specific deal was.
Are different. Streaming numbers for some reason. Hollywood has
what I'm trying to say.
Fucking artists on streaming from day one.
But motherfuckers are starting to fight back with that.
Yeah.
And so that's her beef. It ain't got shit to do. That's like you make a deal with somebody and they tell you, look, you already made enough money. We're going to make the rest of it. No, that's not how it works.
Right.
The wording of this, because they always hold us to the rules.
Right.
So you should hold them to the rules. They the billionaires, trillionaires, or whatever. I'm just a dude that's done made my last.
Yeah, and that's her argument. That's her argument is that she was guaranteed a theatrical release, and so her argument, I think, has a lot more to deal with protecting the artist's rights to holding the standard of what is guaranteed in their contract. And I am definitely in favor of I totally get that idea, right? Like the minute you break on this thing in your contract, what else are they gonna break? Hey man, you got to protect yourself in those situations. I absolutely understand that. I think it'll end up as a settlement somewhere. Because,
for sure.
You know what I mean? That will lead to some future. Obviously, what the end game of this is going to be, there's going to be some real different rules as to how releases work in times of pandemics or whatever futures we have going on. Because obviously, climate change isn't going to stop. This dude's trying to bomb the Capitol now. This dude parked a truck outside. This guy. Here's what I will say about this dude who wanted to bomb the Capitol. He did all the shit. He was like, he had every fucking one of the memes. He did the dude's got 3 names. What's his name? Floyd Ray Rosberry or some shit. This guy, and it's great names. He's got a perfect fucking name for it. He's from North Carolina. He's from the South. Check. He had a bomb check. He's at the Capitol. Check. He's got all that shit going on. Right? Like,
did he have a picture of Jodie Foster by any chance?
He didn't have a Jodie Foster picture, but of course he believed the election was stolen, so he got that part checked. No manifesto, but he was live streaming, which it's the same points. You get the same points. He's giving the manifesto live. Also angry because he lost health care, which is like, does he have mental health issues? Check. You got to get that one too. So he's got all the Republican, MAGA, election stolen, conspiracy guy, probably real mental health issues, but probably has been told that universal health care is socialism. So he's got everything. This guy's the perfect guy for exactly what happened, which is within 24 hours, nobody gives a fuck.
Hey man, he is actually a white nigger.
All right.
Oh God!
I like that James is. Here's the great about being back in the studio is if we weren't in the studio, that is muted, but thankfully my mic picked that one up. I love that.
Oh shit! I thought James.
All right.
All right.
Hey, what? Tell me the difference.
Oh shit!
They don't care if you keep breathing.
Oh
They
man!
don't give a damn about you.
That was hilarious.
Rob,
And you pulled up.
I love that.
To get a man back in office that will never be back in office.
Dude, I don't even know what he was wanting. Like, that's the thing is, like, there was no clear thing about what it was he actually wanted.
To go to jail.
I mean, at the end, that's what he wanted to do. It turns out, and so he will be out of what's crazy is after like a few thousand people try and storm the Capitol, what's one dude who shows up with a bomb? You know what I mean? Like at that point, just like, one guy? What the fuck? This is not even, you guys aren't even hot anymore. You guys are, Tumblr now.
Oh, hold on. I found the motive right here. It says in the last line of his manifesto, I just wanted Toby Jones to call me the N-word.
Game over.
Success.
Oh my God, we let the terrorists win.
We've negotiated with terrorists. Holy shit, we've done it. Somebody else who seemed to want to negotiate with him was Mo Brooks, who's a representative from Alabama. He seemed to have some sympathy for the terrorist, which was a weird thing. He was slammed by a lot of his fellow lawmakers. I don't know how many of them were Republican because I didn't read this. The dude from Illinois, because he's the only guy who's gotten He's the only gay Republican who's just like, we like to disenfranchise people. We just want to do it quietly, okay? Adam Kinzinger is like, you know.
The district next to mine.
But Kinzinger's a guy who I think you at least, to bend on at least a couple of things, he at least seems ready to talk about some shit. He's not insane. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fair enough.
Like he's of the guys who you'd have to fucking deal with over there. I want to deal with him before I want to deal with any of the rest of them.
That fucking was really about the area that he represents.
I mean, I feel like I wish
it's west of me, and west of me is where all the racism lives.
My difficulty with guys like him is I'm like, man, you sound like you're so actually smart and intelligent, and like my difficulty is like, if you're that intelligent, how come you can't go the rest of the way?
Man,
you know what I mean? Like, we didn't get you the rest of the way, dog. You gotta finish that off.
This shit is so performative. And I literally was I just watched Kevin Hart's talk show. Very funny, man. But in the first one, he's interviewing with Jimmy Fallon. And the long story short, they talk a little bit about some politicians and stuff and how some of the people aren't. I think it was on the interview. Anyway, that they're different. They're not the same guys that you see on TV saying all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
If I'm at a cocktail party, you'd actually.
Of course not. Of course not. They're filling roles on TV too. You know what I mean? Like you know, when you get elected, that CNN is looking for a guy from the other side who's going to be reasonable. And if one of the motherfuckers is retiring, you know there's a slot open. And if you're on a certain committee, you know you were the guy up to be on that spot. If X is going on in the world right now, be it energy issue of some sort, be it war of some sort, be it, you know, going on at home, current type of federal level type bullshit going on at some point where it's federal versus state on something. If you're in a committee that's involved in any of that type of shit, this is your time to shine if you're that dude on the right who wants to play the middle. You know what I mean? And guess what? That motherfucker's on all the fucking, you know, any mainstream media that people consider to be left leaning. They bring Kinzinger on and he talks. And that's not saying that's not saying he doesn't.
If he loses his gig, he's gonna get a TV gig.
That's not saying he doesn't necessarily buy into what he's saying, but also, you know, there's something to be said for on the representative level. You are way more concerned about the constituents in the area that you have to go get elected in than whatever the fuck else. He's in a position where he can do that because where he lives, they're not all insane. They're not. I mean, he's been reprimanded by his own people, but they're not as insane as in some of these other places. You know what I mean? Like, where if you're in Georgia somewhere, you got to be on the Trump shit because everybody in your fucking district is Trump shit. So if you want to win, if you want to get that what's the gig, 140 grand a year or something to be 110 grand a year to be a representative, 110 grand a year to be a representative. You get a full staff of people. We were talking about this because all these people who have tried to be actors and models and shit. They've been uncovering everybody from. These people that show up at rallies every day of the week, these anti-mask, anti-vax rallies, these people who are now people like Lauren Boebert who are in the House of Representatives. They've got like profiles on all these model sites because before they got to be in these positions, which are essentially, you know, entertainment for the politically minded, right? Like if you're a representative, you can be a representative forever. It's a hard job to replace. There's not a lot of turnover that goes on. If you're decent in a district where you say the shit that people want to hear, you're not going anywhere. And you get a whole staff of people. You get a spot in D.C. that you can fucking go to. You get to fly back and forth. You get to be on TV. You got people that don't say no to you. You don't have to keep your own schedule. You know what I mean? Like, you upgrade your wardrobe, and all you got to do is fucking keep the people happy. And that's the whole gig. That's the whole gig, man. You got to find a district where you can get in there and get enough people that like you to get elected. And then as long as you don't say the wrong fucking thing, you can do, or say the type of thing they want you to say, you can do that shit forever. And you can keep that salary and get a health care plan and a pension. You know what I mean? Like...
You're making me think I should run.
Well,
I'm literally thinking about this shit. I'm like, I I wonder if I could win.
Well, let me tell you what to do. Let me tell you what to do if you're gonna run. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what to do if you're gonna run. Make sure you disclose all the shit that you've invested money in or gotten contracts for beforehand, because Lauren Boebert somehow forgot to disclose her husband's nearly $1 million in gas consulting contracts. Since I bring her up, I'm gonna jump to that story. She forgot to disclose those gas contracts. Now, obviously, she's out here talking. You know that she's one of the people who's always shitting on the Green New Deal and talking about how fossil fuels are still the future, which is a funny thing to talk about something that's, you know, millions of years, hundreds of millions of years old or whatever the fuck. Yeah. But you know, her husband has gotten $1 million fucking gas contract and they didn't disclose that shit. You know what I mean? That shit they didn't, because this is the thing. They're just here to perform.
It's their money.
Rand Paul, we were going to talk about this last week. Rand Paul's wife bought stock in Gilead. This motherfucker ain't bought stock in 15 years or some shit. They bought stock in Gilead, which is a company that is involved in, I think, COVID medication or something.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Remdesivir, that's it. They bought stock in the company behind Remdesivir, which is one of the fucking main anti-things about, you know, one of the main anti-COVID whatevers.
It's Remdesivir. Is that the monoclonal steroid?
I think that's the one.
Antibody.
Well, Regeneron is one of them, because Regeneron DeSantis is pushing that shit down in Florida.
That's the stupidest shit in the world. Why the fuck would you push? Hey, we got this shit if you get it. That, you know, you just come in and woo woo. Because just say get the vaccine.
Because they can keep a partisan lineup if they do that. See, they can do this move where it's like the vaccine is the Democrat thing. Being strong enough and knowing that there's Regeneron for you if something does happen to you is the strong Republican. You're going to let them put that thing. That's their whole.
And you know what they're going to do? You know what they're going to do? They're going to fuck around and create a situation where they run out of Regeneron.
It's their whole game plan. Well, Governor Abbott has COVID now in Texas. The dude who has been not doing no mask mandates, going to fucking take money away if you do mask mandates. He's got COVID now, and they immediately put him on the monoclonal shit, the Regeneron, which is crazy because. Do you think anybody else in Texas is getting fucking Regeneron? That isn't a billionaire?
He's already gotten 3 shots, too.
Yeah.
Because he's, and I don't want to sound ableist, but he's in a wheelchair, and so I think there's a connection that his immunity may be compromised.
I got a 3rd shot 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're saying that's what they're saying is that booster shots are going to start. They're going to start doing booster shots for the wider public in September, I think, which is literally next month. So,
mine's
and then
not up until December, and
mine will be December. Of course, I'll do it. Like whatever, man. I like if it was every year you had to get a booster shot from now. It's like that's the flu. That's the flu shot. It's the same fucking.
I think we got our shots like a day apart.
Yeah, we got our seconds a day apart. It's whatever, man. I'm fine. Nothing has happened. I've had no issues. I'm in better shape than I've been in a decade. I feel fine about it. There's no issues to it. Go get a fucking shot.
But the third one go with the chip.
The third one to get the chip. Yeah, they come out with a big needle for the third one. One thing that they're telling you not to do is not to take this. They've got some. What's this shit called? Inverticon.
Sounds like
ivermectin. It's a treatment It's a treatment intended for animals. It's an anti-parasitic drug. These idiots. See, this is the problem. This is why this is an issue, is because, like, first of all, you have these people that tell you they won't trust the government, but they'll trust the FDA, which is the government. Secondly, like, they'll tell you they won't take the vaccine because they don't trust what's in it, but they'll take a drug that's for animals, an anti-parasitic drug for animals. Like, so much so that the FDA has to put out a warning being like, hey, don't, like... Like we already have a thing. We have a thing, man.
Taking fish tank cleaner, man.
We
fish tank cleaner.
We have a thing that you could be doing, and like we know a lot of these guys that you think are libtards have done it, but like it's still also good for you. Like it still works on
Bobby,
you too.
Bobby.
Yeah.
You know what? People shit on millennials because of Tide Pods, and I think everybody owes the motherfuckers an apology because their parents drank bleach and fish tank cleaner.
That is true.
And because these motherfuckers was raised by idiots. It wasn't those kids' fault.
That's true. Yeah, the other place they're seeing a problem is police forces across the country. Surprise, surprise. I know that everybody like wants to miss the concept of the idea that like our entire, municipal like protection services are littered with white supremacists and people who are big time Trump supporters who of course would not get a fucking vaccine, right? Like, so there are now hundreds of police officers who are dying from COVID because they didn't get the vaccine, and of course there's still a bunch of cops who are just like, I won't get that, because getting into policing is not something that you do when you're the most intelligent people on the planet, because they don't even let you. They don't even let you.
Yeah, they won't let you. Let's say, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
score too high on IQ tests.
So if you're a cop and you hear this and you're mad, it's like, listen, man, if you were smarter, you wouldn't even be a cop because they wouldn't let you be one. So it's not my fault. Blame the academy, nigga. That's not on me. That's on. It's on central casting.
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you this. I didn't dig. I wasn't really trying to get the job, but I didn't score high enough to be a police officer.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't score high enough to be a police officer. I had to score high enough to work for the sheriff's department. I had to. My family was like, you need this job. I'm like, all right, I'll go pass the test.
Right.
But what happened is when they got in there, they realized real quick I didn't give a shit. Like,
right.
I don't care. Like,
right. I'm here because this is a job that I was told I needed to have, not because I'm like, I didn't grow up being like, I can't wait to put on the suit and fucking.
No, I wasn't at home polishing.
The badge is important to me.
You know how?
And look, can I be honest with you, dog?
Yeah.
The first one they gave me, I broke it.
The first what badge? You broke the how do you break a badge? Aren't those things supposed to be sturdy?
You can snap the motherfucker.
What they give you, a fucking one of them tin ones?
A little pin in the back of the motherfucker, right?
Right.
It's got a pin in the back of it. And the county being what it is, the little pin and the whole setup was cheap as fuck. So I put the shit in my pocket wrong and it broke. As soon as I sat down, I was like, God damn, I just got this fuck.
Just destroyed it, man.
So for the rest of my career, I had a broke ass style. I finally took it to the jewelry store and got it fixed and shit.
That's hilarious.
But I was about to leave, buddy.
You're like, I know this is gonna be a memento, so something to be holding on to this. I just like to have it fixed a little bit. Another crazy thing that's going on. It's so weird how people are just avoiding the most normal shit. There's a pharmacist who was arrested for selling CDC COVID vaccine cards to the unvaccinated. This actually happened in Chicago. It was a Chicago pharmacist who was arrested for this. 125 authentic vaccination cards at $10 a card.
What the fuck?
The vaccine's free.
Dude,
it costs
at least charge
zero
$100.
money. Also, yeah, $10. This guy didn't make enough money for how much time he's going to do in jail. This is certainly not worth it. This guy could probably get decades in prison for this. This is because this is like, it's a federal law that he's breaking, and he's a pharmacist. He's licensed to like not be doing shit like this.
Definitely can't ever do that shit again. Ain't never gonna be a pharmacist again, dude. I can't. Well, obviously you're not gonna say who, but early on, around the time that we got our second shots, somebody said to me that they will get a fake card, and this when the shit was like the vaccine was you still had to wait to get an appointment to get the vaccine at this time, and I was like, these motherfuckers already got fake cards. I don't know I can't even remember what the fucking card looked like at that point.
It's crazy, man.
And people already have fake cards. Like, that shit's insane.
People are trying to do even crazier fake shit. A Norwegian court sentenced a man to prison after he tried to smuggle 88 pounds of meth disguised as a shipment from BioNTech, which makes vaccines. He actually had a BioNTech label and put it on his truck, and just figured he'd be all good.
Yeah. He put the stickers on the truck and shit.
Yeah, I don't know if the truck wasn't good or what the fuck happened. He was a Polish dude. He was coming via ferry. He had magnetic stickers with the BioNTech logo on there. And he had a folder with the logo sitting on the dashboard. This dude had his shit looking right. But they found 88 pounds of meth in his car in the vehicle's roof. So it's close to 10% of their annual seizures of the drug, which is a lot. They got a lot. They got a tenth of their whole yearly haul on this one dude's pull, which is pretty good.
Somebody about to go on vacation forever.
Somebody probably gonna get murdered. Is what's probably gonna happen.
I mean.
Yeah, you lose 88 pounds. God damn, you probably out of there, homie.
It's the Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, right.
The beginning or the end of a Guy Ritchie movie. Right?
But wait a minute. What made him think he was gonna get? Like, he must have been doing it before to make him decide.
Right. Was this his first run, or had they been tracking dude for a while? See, this is the thing they're not going to tell you about, right? Like, see, this is what they won't tell you. Like, they don't want to tell you that the only reason they caught him is because this nigga's like 15th trip, and they finally caught on. But the first 14, this dude has been in the wind with this meth. He's been crushing it in the meth game for a minute, right? Like, this isn't the first. How do you just stumble across a dude who's got 88 pounds of meth unless you've been looking for him for a minute, right? Like, meth is in Norway. Y'all are like, how do we get this meth in Norway? At some point, you're like, we think it's this truck. And then you got to, you even got to, that motherfucker gets through a few times before you just jump. You don't jump at the first one out. You got to see what's happening, right? Like, you say, where's it going? What's happening? And then you're like, oh shit, this van. Right, yeah. The vaccine ain't going to the vaccine spot. This shit's going to the fucking hood. We know, even in Norway, they ain't giving out the vaccines in the hood. You know what I mean? You gotta. Actually, they got healthcare. You are getting the vaccine in the hood, but not that much. They're probably like BioNTech, not there. They're getting the J&J. Yeah, they got the asshole Zeneca. Speaking of assholes, OnlyFans is shutting down their sexually explicit part of their website, which is obviously a death sentence.
They about to go to Tumblr. Like, Tumblr's still there, but
do the people that own it know about Tumblr? So here's what happened. Here's a weird sequence of events. So I was looking back on stories. They released a transparency report a few days ago. It was their first ever transparency report. It was about how often police demand user data. So they were given, obviously there's been some pressure from somebody being like, yo, obviously somebody's daughter got seen on some shit or something. And somebody was like, enough, we got to end this OnlyFans bullshit. Or, on the other side of it, OnlyFans was trying to get some money. They were like, we gotta get some income.
Heard I didn't read the article, so y'all can look this up for yourself. But there was a lot of people talking about MasterCard apparently wanted them to require consent.
There you go.
Consent decrees or something to that degree.
Once somebody who's involved in the money starts complaining about what you're doing on the fucking... Once somebody's involved with how you get your money into your actual pocket starts bitching,
that's what it
all
was.
Of a sudden you're like, oh, we gotta make changes.
They want age verification for any performer doing anything illicit, and they want a consent decrees for any performer doing anything illicit. So that I'm doing this of my own free will. Nobody's making me do it.
Yeah, they had, I think,
which actually is a reasonable request. And I don't know if OnlyFans didn't think that was a possibility, or if OnlyFans has so much bullshit going on that that request would require them to go out of business.
I think there's part of it where they're just like, we're gonna ride this until somebody tells us we can't do our shit like this anymore. We're gonna see how far we can go with this and see what we can. And so they did that 3 days ago. They released a non-nudity app. They released an app that was that has no nudity, especially like it's no nudity and no paywall. It's called OFTV, which is obviously OnlyFans TV. So we obviously know they want you to watch this. But yeah, they also want something that can be on an app network, like iOS or the Play Store. I don't know if you can get. I don't think there's an OnlyFans app that you can get. I don't think that's how it works. Apple and Google are not putting those apps. They're not putting an OnlyFans app in their store.
Yeah.
Apple just said they were going to put weed delivery apps on your shit last week, and we're well past thinking that's okay. So for sure they aren't doing that.
Silicon Valley is ironically very prudish.
Yeah, it's super conservative.
So they bring us all this they bring us all the porn in the world.
So they've gone to banning sexually explicit content, which they also have not really described exactly what that is. And for people that aren't necessarily familiar, OnlyFans houses content that is not always naked people. It's their hands. I mean, anybody can go create an OnlyFans account. You can do whatever the fuck you want to put behind a paywall, essentially. But it also means if you want to fuck somebody on camera on OnlyFans, that's also a thing you can do and sell that to people too, right? Like you can run it like a cam cam channel essentially if you want to, which is also available. And I think that's where it comes into difficulty for them, is that if you want to run a cam channel, you can certainly, there's cam channels available to run, but you know, that mixture of just like where anybody can be involved, but also porn with no beaded, you know, door between the rooms. There's no way to put a beaded door down. You know what I mean? You could stumble on anything in there, I think. And so I think that's where the issue is. Somebody who's not going to be hurting from it is Rachel Dolezal. She's still making money out there in the world, y'all. She's got feet pics on OnlyFans, which I think I would call that sexually explicit nudity for me. I don't need to see that, but
man,
she'll probably survive whatever the ban is.
So I discovered apparently the feet thing. That's a larger percentage of the population than I thought.
What if she just dips one in chocolate and then she just does like a light chocolate where she's just like, I'm this and this. I'm these.
Wow.
No.
Wow, B. Wow.
No.
Does she have pretty digits? I don't know.
I have not looked. I have not sought out Rachel Dolezal feet pictures. I'm just. I saw she was on OnlyFans, and I saw like it was a story that came up, and I'm like, cool, I can add this to the OnlyFans stories we're talking about. That'll be it's a great way to wind those up together. Yeah, she's she's still making dough, man. Somebody who might not be making dough, Tigers broadcaster Jack Morris. He was broadcasting for a baseball game the other night where the Tigers were playing the Angels, and Shohei Ohtani was coming up to the plate. And the main broadcast guy asked him, how should we pitch him? And he said, be very, very careful, but he said it with an Asian accent.
Oh my goodness.
Which is bad, but also it brings this thing to mind is just like there was a time where you could, like, people would do Asian accents at the drop of a hat. Right, like that was some shit. Anytime somebody talked about getting Asian food for delivery or any type of interaction with it, a Bruce Lee movie or any type of kung fu movie, everybody would dive right into this Asian accent that they thought was like super authentic or funny. Right.
Every comedian in the 90s in the movie.
Oh my God.
Character or something like that.
And that's not to say that Jack Morris should be excused, but it brought back, like, there was a time when, I mean, I won't lie, when I was a kid, for sure I had done that shit. Like, because there was nobody saying that was a bad thing to do. And grown adults who seem to be, you know, pillars of society also doing that shit. So, like, that's how nurture works, right? Like, nobody was even coming up to me who was Asian was saying, don't do that. It was just like, nobody was really, and it wasn't, obviously.
Nobody not telling you not to do it.
Also, it wasn't like every day I was like, let me break down this Asian accent. It was like every once in a, you know, a couple of times, a few times, I don't know.
Hank Azaria just stopped doing the poo. Like a few years ago.
So I'm probably cool with it. So what I'm saying is though, like it brought back this thing of like, oh yeah, there's a point where also in my head I had to remember like that's obviously not okay anymore, right? Like, and so I think Jack Morris had one of those moments where he did it, and it's because right after that, it was super quiet right after he did it, and then they tried to just kind of move on from there, and then like,
oh, that makes it worse.
And then
he did it, he realized
I
just fucked up my career,
and they kind of rolled on, and then a few innings later, Shohei Ohtani came up again, and he apologized. You know, he's like, obviously, like I made a mistake. That was not something I wanted to do. I have utmost respect for him, the community. He made, you know.
That motherfucker just started his check. He just saw his check start to decrease. Man, Shohei Ohtani, just the amount of fans he probably has.
I mean, what he brings to the game, right? What Shohei Ohtani, who is a Japanese-born player, just so if you're not a baseball fan, like somebody who can both be a starting pitcher as a major league player and also hit home runs on a regular, it's not a real thing.
Not just a starting. This motherfucker is
he's good.
Movie. He's a very good pitcher and an amazing hitter. I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in home runs.
He is. Yeah, he's the league. He has more home runs than anybody in the league, which is the hardest thing to do as a hitter. He's Babe Ruth if they didn't make Babe Ruth stop pitching, right? Like like Babe Ruth, and he's a good pitcher too. He's not the best in the league, but he's up near the top in a bunch of the categories. He's part of the reason why they've got any wins at all, both offensively. He's with everything you'd want to package, and he's a super nice guy. And here's how I know he's a nice guy. They asked him about it. He goes, yeah, I saw the video. He goes, I'm not. It's okay. He goes, it's It's okay. It's it's all right, guys. It's okay. The Tigers still suspended Jack Morris indefinitely. So who knows? Hopefully, hopefully Shohei is kind enough that he will call upon the Tigers and go, look, man, will y'all just let this dude, let this man work? He's
Fuck him. Fuck him.
But here's the thing, though.
Where's Lou Whitaker? Let him come in and be the fucking.
Shohei Ohtani is from
Replace
Japan.
all white men who fuck up with black people or people of color who could be just as good that also have experience. That is
like old boy from Jeopardy. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of which, in our last story I want to talk about today, what a great segue from Rob. Give this man a hand on one. He's dishing now. Mike Richards, who is the executive producer of Jeopardy, if you hadn't heard of him, and why the fuck would you, had named himself as the host of Jeopardy, which is fucking ridiculous. He is actually, as of today, stepping down from his position as the host of Jeopardy because as soon as he got named the host, people decided to bring up the fact that he used to say a bunch of crazy shit to women on The Price is Right and was like a harasser and shit on that show, which is probably how he ended up moving over to Jeopardy because those aren't on the same channels.
So, who the fuck is here to be the host of Jeopardy? Like, Jeopardy don't owe me shit.
Right.
But these motherfuckers had a series of celebrities that they were basically parading out there as potential hosts.
Yes.
They had this whole thing. And then this nigga just like, even in his resignation, he's talking about, I was honored to be asked. Nigga, you asked yourself.
Yeah, he's the guy. You the decider on the panel, dog. What do you?
Hey, he pulled a straight Dick Cheney on y'all hoes. We'll figure out who's gonna be the next vice president. Fuck it, it's me.
What a wild move. Well, hopefully they bring LeVar back because I do still believe that LeVar Burton is the right guy for the gig. I think he fits
He's campaigning for it too.
He fits the aesthetic so well, man. It's such a great aesthetic that he fits into.
He has the wit. And he has the intellectual respect because he taught like a third of the country how to read.
Right. Yeah. It's fitting. He's the guy that should come in there and do that. And if he's not, it's definitely racism. Anyway, XL, what you got going on this week, man? Where are you gonna be? Anywhere? You doing anything? You kicking it?
No.
You
check me on XL Comedy on the internet.
Cardio every day, right?
Cardio every day. Yeah, you can watch me with my fat ass get less fat.
Rob, what about you, man?
Hey man, I got so much crap going on that you gotta go to a central place to find it.
Where is that central place?
Get ready to look for it. Go to any social media that I happen to have and put in Robert_L_Hines.
And you'll find it there. We're doing XL and I are doing a show on September 10th at Reggie's. That's definitely a show I want to tell you all about. Early warning, we're doing a show at Reggie's. It'll be the reteaming of 2.5 Black Men, as that is a Jay Washington showcase. And so we're gonna be hanging out with Jay that night and a bunch of other great comics. So catch us on that. You can find that and more at my stuff at mocha_Jesus. I've got the link to my to all my shit in my bio. Yeah, X.
I think we have a what's face coming up next week? I forgot. The game show.
We got Tim Reel's game show.
Yeah. What's it called?
Codenames. We're doing Codenames next week. All right, we're doing Codenames next week. I'm doing Codenames next week, I think. So find out at mocha_Jesus. Get over to New OGs.
I need a codename partner too.
Get over to at New OGs Pod. Find out all of our great episodes there. Get over to People of Comedy. Check out some of their great shows. Find out where they're going to be and go see where they are recording people. Catch us next week. We'll be back here then. That's it. That's what's up.
Bitches wanna fuck with nigga, you can't blame us. Whole lot of niggas changed since we came up. They can try to steal the moves, but they ain't us. Think you gang, but nigga, you a stranger. Bitches wanna fuck with nigga, you can't blame us. You can't. Bitch, you better play your role.